Welcome back to the channel, Emmerdale fans. Next week is packed with drama, secrets, and shocking twists that you won't want to miss. From Kerry's jaw-dropping discovery about Eric's plan to Amy's life-changing proposal for Matty, and the looming question, will Laurel's guilt unravel the truth about Anthony? Stay tuned as we dive into the top 5 explosive spoilers for Emmerdale from the 27th to the 31st of January. Trust me, you'll want to know what's coming next in the Dales. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you're always the first to know about the latest Emmerdale spoilers and drama updates. Now, let's get into it. 1. Will Eric burn down the shop? Alright, let's dive into what's brewing in Emmerdale next week. The drama is going up a notch, especially with Eric, who's finding himself in a right mess. His desperation to fix the chaos he's caused with Brenda is leading him down a dangerous path, and the situation is spiraling fast. Eric's financial troubles have been bubbling for a while now, ever since his impulsive decisions left him high and dry. That cryptocurrency scam didn't just drain his own pockets, it wiped out Brenda's savings too. And even though she knows his medication played a part in his poor judgment, it's left a lasting crack in their relationship. Brenda, understandably, has had enough. Now, Eric's determined to make things right. Selling the shop is his big plan, but the process is dragging on, and he's starting to feel like he's failing Brenda all over again. He's carrying the weight of this guilt on his shoulders, and it's becoming harder to hide how much it's eating him up inside. Enter Kerry, who's got her own share of mistakes and regrets. She's noticed Eric isn't himself lately, and his health seems to be taking a back seat to his frantic attempts to repay Brenda. Kerry tries to get through to him, urging him to slow down and think about his own well-being. But let's face it, Eric's not one to listen when he's set his mind on something. What makes Kerry's involvement interesting is the connection she feels with Eric. They've both made some pretty questionable choices, and there's an understanding between them because of it. Kerry's always had a soft spot for Eric, and it's clear she doesn't want to see him fall apart like this. She's genuinely concerned, but it's also clear she doesn't know the full extent of what Eric's planning. The big shocker comes when Kerry stumbles across Eric with a bag full of matches and accelerants in the shop. Imagine her horror as the pieces start to come together. Eric, pushed to the brink, admits his plan to burn down the shop for insurance money. It's a desperate, reckless move, but in his mind, it's the only way to fix everything. This revelation takes Kerry back to her own dark past, specifically the fire at the sweet factory. That disaster led to Frank's death, and it's a mistake that's haunted her ever since. She knows firsthand how these kinds of schemes can go horribly wrong, and she's determined to stop Eric from making the same life-altering mistake. The tricky part is, Kerry doesn't want to lay all her cards on the table. Admitting her involvement in Frank's death could open up a Pandora's box of trouble, not just for her, but for Amy and others who've kept this secret buried. But at the same time, she feels like she has to use her own experience to get Eric to see sense. This moral tug-of-war is at the heart of next week's drama. Does Kerry risk revealing her dark past to save Eric from himself? And even if she does, what are the chances he'll actually listen? It's a risky move, but one that could make all the difference. What's more, the fallout from this situation has the potential to ripple across the village. If Eric were to find out the truth about Kerry and the fire, it's not just her secret anymore. That could lead to serious tension with Tracy, Vanessa, and even Amy, who've worked so hard to keep this buried. Laura Norton, who plays Kerry, really nails the complexity of this storyline. She's said before that Kerry and Eric have a bond because they're both lovable rogues in their own ways. But this situation is testing that bond to its limit, especially as Eric's actions mirror mistakes Kerry deeply regrets. Ultimately, Kerry's in a tough spot. On one hand, she feels responsible for trying to help Eric avoid the kind of regret she's lived with for years. On the other hand, opening up about her past could put her in an even worse position. It's a no-win situation, but one that's bound to keep us all hooked. The real question is whether Eric will finally listen to someone else's advice before it's too late. His stubbornness is one of his defining traits, but it's also what's landed him in hot water more than once. This time, though, the stakes are higher than ever. So, as the week unfolds, we'll see just how far Kerry is willing to go to stop Eric from making a massive mistake. Will her warnings be enough, or will her own secrets come spilling out in the process? One thing's for sure, this isn't a week to miss in Emmerdale. 2. Amy wants a baby? Things are heating up over at Butler's and Amy is at the center of it all. It all starts when she steps in to help out with little Frankie, and let's just say, it sparks something unexpected in her. Spending time with Frankie seems to flick a switch for Amy, Suddenly, she's full of the idea of starting a family of her own with Matty. It's not just a passing thought either. Once Amy gets the idea in her head, it quickly turns into something she feels deeply about. She's already an amazing mum to Kyle, but there's this lingering sense of regret about not being there for him during his early years. It feels like this might be her chance to do things differently, and the more she thinks about it, the more she realizes it's what she truly wants. Moira is the first to hear about Amy's new dream, and even she's a bit surprised. Amy admits she's feeling broody, and that the idea of having a child is suddenly all she can think about. Moira, ever the voice of reason, encourages her to talk things through with Matty, but Amy being Amy, she gets a little ahead of herself. Instead of starting with a heart-to-heart with Matty, Amy dives straight into action. She's all about getting things moving quickly and even decides to chat with Kim about renting a house. Forget saving for a mortgage. Amy's ready to nest now. It's like 1 minute she's having a cute moment with Frankie, and the next she's planning the whole next chapter of her life. Her excitement leads to a big moment when she brings Matty to Dale View. Poor Matty probably thinks they're just stopping by, but Amy's got a whole surprise lined up. She's already made a verbal agreement about the house and casually drops the bombshell. What do you think? By the way, shall we have a baby? It's classic Amy. Big heart, big ideas, but maybe not the best timing. Now for Matty, this is all a bit much to process. He's always been the practical one, and their plan was to save up for a house first. This sudden change of direction throws him off balance. Plus, being trans, starting a family comes with its own set of challenges, so it's not something he can just decide on a whim. There's a lot to consider, and it's clear that Matty wasn't quite ready for this conversation. Amy's enthusiasm is infectious, but it's also clear she hasn't fully thought things through. While she's pitching the idea with everything she's got, Matty needs time to process what this would mean for both of them. It's not just about wanting a child, it's about the practicalities, the emotional impact, and the realities of what starting a family together would look like. The tension builds as Matty calls time on the conversation, feeling overwhelmed by the whole situation. It's a tough moment for Amy, who's clearly put her heart into this. She feels a pang of guilt for springing it on him so suddenly, but deep down, she's holding on to hope that he might come around to the idea. What's really striking about this storyline is how it highlights the different ways people approach big decisions like starting a family. For Amy, it's an emotional, instinctive desire that she feels in her bones. For Matty, it's a more measured process, one that needs time, planning, and a lot of thought. Neither approach is wrong, but finding a middle ground will be their biggest challenge. There's also an extra layer to this for Matty, given the unique considerations they'll face as a couple. It's not just about deciding to have a baby, it's about figuring out the best way to make that happen. And that's no small thing. It's understandable why he feels blindsided by Amy's sudden enthusiasm. Amy, meanwhile, is left in a bit of a vulnerable spot. She's put her feelings out there and taken a big emotional leap, only to be met with hesitation. It's not that Matty doesn't care. It's just a lot for him to handle all at once. The question now is whether Amy can give him the space he needs or if her eagerness will push things further than he's ready for. This storyline isn't just about starting a family. It's about communication, compromise, and learning to navigate big life decisions as a team. Amy and Matty have been through so much together, and this is another test of their bond. Will they be able to find a way forward that works for both of them, or will their different approaches create a rift? It's a storyline that's bound to keep viewers hooked because it's so relatable. Whether it's the excitement of a new dream or the fear of taking a big step, we've all been in situations where emotions run high and decisions aren't easy. It's real, it's heartfelt, and it's got all the makings of classic Emmerdale drama. 3. Will Laurel go to the police? The mystery surrounding Anthony's disappearance is stirring up even more tension in the village, and things are getting messier by the day. Steph is determined to find answers, but she's completely in the dark about the explosive family secrets that have come to light. The truth is far from anything she could imagine, and those involved are scrambling to keep it buried. Anthony's dark past has caught up with him in the worst possible way. The revelations about his abuse of Ruby have sent shockwaves through the family, and it's all spiraled into a series of events that no one seems able to control. Ruby's confirmation that he's not only her abuser, but also Steph's biological father has shaken everyone to the core. It's no wonder emotions are running high and people are making desperate choices. Caleb, for one, has been on the warpath since hearing the truth. His fury with Anthony is palpable, and it's led him to take matters into his own hands. Dragging Anthony to the barn for a terrifying confrontation shows just how far Caleb is willing to go for justice. But in a twist that's left everyone on edge, Anthony managed to escape that encounter, only to run into even more trouble later on. Aaron's involvement adds another layer of intensity to this already fraught situation. As someone who's experienced abuse firsthand, Aaron's actions stem from years of bottled-up anger and trauma. His confrontation with Anthony is brutal, and while it stops short of ending Anthony's life, it's clear that Aaron's emotions are overwhelming him. The decision to walk away must have taken everything he had, especially knowing Anthony deserved to pay for his crimes. But what happened next has set the stage for even more chaos. When Anthony turned up dead, John's quick thinking might have been well-intentioned, but it's only added to the web of lies. The decision to dispose of the body to protect Aaron has created a dangerous situation for everyone involved. Covering their tracks by moving Anthony's car and belongings seemed like a smart move at the time, but it's left cracks in the story that are starting to show. Steph's growing frustration over the unanswered questions is putting pressure on Ruby and Caleb. Her suspicions about Anthony's disappearance are only intensifying, especially now that his car has mysteriously vanished. Ruby is barely holding it together, and Caleb is doing his best to deflect her concerns. But it's clear that their attempts to keep the truth from Steph are becoming harder by the day. Meanwhile, Chaz's involvement is stirring up even more trouble. Her decision to warn Nicola about Anthony being a danger to children has created a ripple effect that no one anticipated. Ruby's horror at the possibility of Steph learning the truth has pushed her to demand that Chaz backtrack, leading to an awkward and tense admission. Chaz's attempt to clean up the mess only seems to have made things worse. Laurel and Nicola's reaction to Chaz's backpedaling shows just how much tension is simmering beneath the surface. Laurel's guilt over her role in Anthony's death is starting to overwhelm her, and Nicola is struggling to keep her calm. The pair's private horror at Chaz's new version of events is a stark reminder of how much they're all trying to hide. The question now is whether Laurel's conscience will get the better of her. Nicola's attempts to play the voice of reason might not be enough to stop her from going to the police. Laurel's fear and guilt are pushing her closer to confessing, and if she does, the fallout will be massive. It's not just her own actions that will come under scrutiny. This could unravel the entire cover-up. Every move the characters make seems to dig them deeper into a hole. The lies, secrets, and cover-ups are piling on top of each other, and it's becoming increasingly clear that something's going to give. The village is brimming with tension, and it feels like it's only a matter of time before everything comes crashing down. Steph's relentless search for answers is the ticking time bomb in all of this. As she digs deeper, the cracks in everyone's stories are going to become impossible to ignore. How long can Ruby, Caleb, and the others keep her from the truth? And what will happen when she finally uncovers the shocking reality about her family? This is one of those storylines where every decision seems to lead to even bigger consequences. The stakes are high for everyone involved, and the tension is only building. The village is holding its breath as the secrets and lies threaten to explode, and it's anyone's guess how it will all play out. 4. Bob faces his grief. Bob's journey with grief continues to tug at the heartstrings this week as he faces yet another painful milestone. The arrival of Heath's headstone is a stark reminder of the loss he's been trying so hard to process. While he's putting on a brave face for those around him, it's obvious that the weight of this moment is far heavier than he's letting on. Manpreet's gentle attempts to check in with Bob show just how much support he has, but it's clear that no amount of well-meaning words can take away the pain. The thought of seeing that headstone, a permanent marker of Heath's passing, is too much for him to handle. Bob's reluctance to confront this moment is painfully relatable. Sometimes the finality of it all feels like it's just too soon to face. For Kathy, the headstone represents something different. She's eager to visit the graveyard, to feel that connection with her twin brother in some tangible way. But her dad's hesitance leaves her frustrated, as Bob keeps finding excuses to avoid the moment. It's a heartbreaking dynamic. Kathy, seeking a way to honor her brother, while Bob struggles to even acknowledge the reality of his grief. Eric's brief conversation with Bob becomes a much-needed lifeline. Sharing his own experiences with loss, Eric offers a perspective that seems to resonate with Bob in a way no one else has managed. Grief is a deeply personal journey, but sometimes hearing someone else's story can provide a sense of solidarity, and that's exactly what Eric does for Bob in this moment. When Bob finally gathers the strength to go to the graveyard with Kathy, it's a deeply emotional moment. Seeing the headstone, a symbol of both finality and remembrance, is as difficult as he feared, but it also gives him a chance to honor Heath in a way that feels personal. The headstone is a bittersweet reminder of their love for Heath, and Bob's comment that they've done him proud shows just how much thought and care went into this moment. The quiet time that Bob and Kathy share by the grave is a touching way to bring some light into a heavy moment. Sharing Heath's favorite treats and reminiscing about the things he loved is such a heartfelt way to celebrate his memory. It's a reminder that, even in grief, there's room for moments of warmth and love, and it's clear that this small act of remembrance means the world to both of them. Bob's reminder to Kathy that Heath will always be with them is a simple but powerful sentiment. It's the kind of thing we all need to hear when dealing with loss, that even though someone might not be physically present, the memories, love, and connection never truly fade. It's a poignant end to an emotional storyline, showing the delicate balance of grief and love that so many viewers will relate to. 5. Marlon takes a risk next week. The heartache for Marlon grows as there's still no sign of April. Desperation has taken hold, and he's decided to up the reward for any information that might lead to her safe return. It's clear he's willing to do whatever it takes, sparing no effort to bring his daughter back home. The thought of her being out there somewhere, alone, is unbearable, and he's clinging to the hope that money might prompt someone to come forward with a vital clue. Rona and Mary, however, are less convinced about the plan. They can't help but worry that increasing the reward might attract the wrong kind of attention. Time wasters and trolls are a very real concern, and they're fearful this move could do more harm than good, leading to more heartbreak for Marlon. But no matter how much they try to reason with him, he's not budging. For him, any chance, no matter how slim, is worth taking, if it means even the slightest hope of finding April. Marlon's determination is gut-wrenching to watch. He's a father at his wit's end, trying to navigate a nightmare no parent should have to face. Every decision he's making comes from a place of pure love and desperation. His unwavering focus on finding April, no matter the risks, highlights just how deeply this ordeal is affecting him. It's an emotional roller coaster, and the stakes couldn't feel higher. And that's it for this week's Top 5 Emmerdale spoilers. What a roller coaster of emotions we're in for. From shocking secrets to life-changing decisions, and everything in between. Let us know in the comments which storyline has you most intrigued or what your predictions are for the week ahead. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your fellow Emmerdale fans. It really helps support the channel. And of course, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss out on the latest Emmerdale spoilers and drama updates. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and enjoy the drama.